Hi guys, so in this video I'm going to be talking about my top 20 favourite movies from the year 2011. So these are all in accordance with the release dates from IMDb again, and of course there's no real right or wrong to this, these are just my top 20 personal favourite movies from the year 2011. So that being said, I'm going to kick it off straight away. Got quite a handful of honourable mentions here that I want to get through, so I'll do that as quickly as possible. So kicking it off with my first honourable mention, and that is Horrible Bosses. This was a comedy with a great cast that I really enjoyed. Sort of about these three workers that end up having these bosses that really piss them off, and they want to take a bit of revenge on them. And it was just really fun and again, harmless entertainment. So yeah, thought that one was fine. Coming up next, my honourable mentions is Moneyball with Brad Pitt. This was a great movie sort of about sports statistics and how you sort of can buy players to form the best possible team to try and win the season. And I just thought it was really interesting. Didn't enjoy it the first time, but second time I really got into the dialogue in this movie. I thought it was pretty good. So yeah, Moneyball was pretty decent. My next honourable mention is Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy. This was just a fantastic spy sort of thriller. I know it's very slow paced and a bit of a slow burn, but I really dug the acting in this movie and thought it had a great cast, and Gary Oldman's always good in anything he's in, so yeah. Next up is Steven Spielberg's Warhorse. Again, this was just another bit of a slow burn, but a really interesting movie that I really enjoyed. One of Spielberg's most underrated films, in my opinion, and I, again, really enjoyed it. Just didn't quite crack the top 20 for me. Just some movies I enjoyed a little bit more. Next honourable mention for me is Source Code with Jake Gyllenhaal. Another great sort of suspenseful movie that I really enjoyed. Thought it was pretty good. So, yeah, definitely worth a watch. My next honourable mention is Limitless, Bradley Cooper, Robert De Niro. Thought this movie again was pretty good. Sort of about how this pill can help you sort of like unlock the potential and usage of your brain. Really interesting stuff. And yeah, great performances from Bradley Cooper as well. My next honourable mention is Martin Scorsese's Hugo. Yeah, this was, again, a massively entertaining film with a great cast. Ben Kingsley, Sacha Baron Cohen, Chloe Grace Moretz, and Asa Butterfield. Just hugely enjoyable family film. Don't see too many of them from Scorsese. But yeah, was very competent and really enjoyable. My next honourable mention is Matthew McConaughey in The Lincoln Lawyer. This is one of those movies that really changed my opinion of Matthew McConaughey. He was an actor I couldn't really stand because of all of his same repetitive rom-com work. He just put me off him, and I did not want to know him at all in any way as an actor. But my God, has he changed my opinion of him. And that's what I really want an actor to do who I don't like. Prove me wrong, change my opinion, do some creative work, and do get involved in some juicy roles, and really step out of your comfort zone. And he's done that. He's really won me over with some of the stuff he's done lately. And this was one of those films that I really enjoyed. My next honourable mention is The Ides of March. I thought this movie was really good as well. Great cast to it. Marissa Tomei, George Clooney, Ryan Gosling, Philip Seymour Hoffman. Just a well acted movie, and is one definitely worth checking out. Next honourable mention for me is Christian Bale in The Flowers of War. My word, this movie was just absolutely brutal and really uncomfortable to watch at times. But I thought it was fantastic, and it's one of those films, again, don't want to see it with like a sort of group of friends. It's not that type of movie. It's sort of really serious and really gripping, but yeah, I enjoyed it for what it was and thought it was pretty good. Next honourable mention for me is Shame with Michael Fassbender and Kerry Mulligan. Yeah, this movie was really bizarre, but it was one I sort of really enjoyed and thought it was quite competent. Steve McQueen, of course, 12 Years a Slave and Widows. Um, yeah, just a well-acted movie. And my last honourable mention is another movie with a great cast. It's My Week with Marilyn. Again, yeah, just really, really enjoyed this. I thought Michelle Williams was brilliant as Marilyn Monroe. Kenneth Branagh, of course, as Laurence Olivier. I think Kenneth Branagh sort of really idolises Laurence Olivier. You can sort of tell with some of the movies he's done, like Henry V and this one. And Hamlet as well, of course. But yeah, this had a great cast and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Great to see Emma Watson in this as well. Dominic Cooper and Eddie Redmayne. Really enjoyed it. So, there are my honourable mentions. I'm going to kick it off straight away with number 20 now, my main list. So, coming in at number 20 is Real Steel with Hugh Jackman. This is not a great movie in any way, shape or form. I just found it entertaining for what it was. It looked great on Blu-ray. Seeing these robots pretty much just participating in boxing, and that's all it was. I will say the kid in this pissed me off. He was annoying as fuck. I just did not like him whatsoever or care about his character. I hated him so much. Hugh Jackman sort of saves it, and the special effects save it too. But I really enjoyed the ending to this movie as well. Felt kind of like Rocky. But the highest praise I can give this is it's a fun Blu-ray watch. It just looks good on the format. That's about it. Yeah, I can't really say much more than that. I just hated that little pipsqueak of a kid in it. It really pissed me off. So, coming in at number 19 for me is a movie I absolutely despised and hated the first time I saw it. And it's Bridesmaids. Now you're thinking, why the hell is it in your top 20 of your list? I gave this movie a second chance. The first time I saw this movie, I didn't relate to any of the characters whatsoever. They pissed me off. I didn't know anyone in this film at all. They all sort of got their fame from SNL, which I don't watch. And it was kind of like, you haven't really earned the right to pull off this comedy movie. And I really cannot relate to any of the characters in it. That was my mindset. And I never ever planned on watching it again. I hated it so much. But on second viewing, it kind of impressed me a little bit. The humour was a little bit more clever, and I could sort of relate to the characters a lot more, particularly Kristen Wiig's one. The first time I saw it, I thought she was really selfish and just really a horrible person to do what she does at her friend's bridal shower. I just thought, why are you making this about you? But watching it again, I can kind of understand it and understand the motivation behind it. I really enjoyed it the second time. This is one of those movies where my opinion has completely changed about it. This is. I don't think that this movie is a masterpiece or anything like that, but I have to give it props for changing my opinion over time, and that rarely happens for me. But yeah, I enjoyed it a hell of a lot more the second time, and yeah, I have to sort of put it on the list for that. You know, it just made such a big improvement for me on second viewing. So my number 18 pick is again another comedy film, but it's a lot less alone, and I think this movie's fucking great. And if you've not seen it, I fully implore you to check it out. And it's probably a bit underrated. It's called Take Me Home Tonight, and it just has a fantastic cast in it with Topher Grace and Anna Faris. Teresa Palmer, who, to me, annoyingly looks like Amber Heard. I always get those two actresses confused, but Teresa Palmer is obviously the better one. And yeah, I absolutely loved it. It just oozes 80s with every fibre of its being, and it is just superb. Chris Pratt's in this as well as this sort of dopey jock, which really sort of impressed me. You know, this of course was before he took off in Guardians and Jurassic World. But this movie really, really impressed me for what it was. A very, very small movie, but it does a lot with a little again, and it really had some good humour in it. Great to see Kyle Reese, Michael Biehn in this as well from Terminator. But yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Fully implore you to check this one out if you've not seen it. I had a blast with it. So, my number 17 pick is Roman Polanski's Carnage. This is basically about two sets of parents trying to resolve their son's bullying issue. And it's brilliant, the times that they can and can't agree on things. And the cast in this is just absolutely amazing. Christoph Waltz, John C. Reilly, Kate Winslet, Jodie Foster. It's just basically the four of them in a room having a conversation about how they should tackle this this bullying incident that happened between their two sons. And it was just riveting, and it was one of Roman Polanski's best, in my opinion. I had a blast with it and thought it was just so riveting and interesting. So check Carnage out if you can. Don't be disappointed that it's not about the Spider-Man villain. So, coming in at number 16 for me is again a sort of another serious drama. We Need to Talk About Kevin by Lynn Ramsey, who I think did the two movies Morven Caller and Ratcatcher. My God, those two movies are just absolutely depressing. So is this one really, but I enjoyed this one a hell of a lot more for what it was, as horrible as that is to say. This movie is basically about a mother whose son basically committed a mass murder at a school, and he's in prison, and she has to sort of deal with the backlash of that. It's so riveting and so compelling to watch. Ezra Miller, of course, is the son. You got John C. Reilly in there as well. Tilda Swinton, she's pretty much great in everything she's in as well. She's one of those underrated actresses, in my opinion. But yeah, Lynn Ramsey's We Need to Talk About Kevin really, really surprised me. Quite a deep, disturbing and thought-provoking film. So check this one out if you've not seen it, if you're in that sort of frame of mind, or you just want like a serious character study type movie. So, coming up at number 15 for me is, again, this is a very, very dark film if you've not seen it. Tyrannosaur, directed by and written by Paddy Considine. My God, where did he pull this from? The performances in this are just absolutely brilliant. Oh God, I can't remember the lead actor's name, but he's in Deathly Hallows Part 1 and My Name is Joe. He is brilliant in this film. Some really, really dark stuff. If you don't like dog deaths either, spoilers, don't watch this film. Oh my God. Olivia Colman in this as well. Fuck me. Really, really good. Peter Mullen, that's his name. Oh, what a performance in this. My word. There's a scene in this where he's trying to take down an old shed and one of the neighbours gets really, really pissed off with him and you just don't know where it's going to go. Oh my God, it's superb. And of course you've got that actor, I think his name's Eddie Marsh. He's a little podgy actor. He's in The World's End and he's the villain in Deadpool 2. And he was also in Atomic Blonde and The Gentleman as well. He shows up in like a lot of random films, but he's in this as well. He is an absolutely despicable monster in this film. And my word, his relationship with Olivia Colman, some of the most disturbing stuff I've ever seen. But yeah, I'm so impressed with the talent Paddy Considine has and displayed in this film with the writing and direction. Such an uncomfortable watch, but such a great, great, great film. So if you've got the stomach for this, I fully, fully recommend Tyrannosaur. It is so, so good. But as I said, it's not everyone's cup of tea. You've really got to have the stomach for it. So, my next pick at number 14 is, I'm cheating a little bit here because it's two movies. But I think when you'll see, you'll understand why. So the two I've picked for number 14 are Thor and Captain America. two great installments in the MCU, but I think these two movies are very, very much in the same bracket as each other. One focuses more on like mythology and the gods, whereas the other one mainly focuses on like a World War II action movie. Two completely different settings, but two really, really good, solid movies. They filmed actually some of this in my hometown of Liverpool, and every time I go down to the docks, I always recognise that scene. It's the part where Richard Armitage takes a cyanide pill by the Titanic Hotel, so I always sort of recognise that scene whenever I'm down there. And again, yeah, these two movies just absolutely good. Who thought that a Thor movie could be excellent? You know, Chris Hemsworth perfectly cast in this. And of course, Chris Evans as Captain America was great too. So yeah, if you're into your superhero movies, definitely check these two out. I was very, very pleasantly surprised with these, and really, really enjoyed both of them. And of course, we got the masterpiece, which was next, which was the first Avengers movie. And these two are like a really good sort of character setup to that as well. So yeah, definitely two superhero movies worth checking out. And of course, if you're into your MCU movies, you'll know those two movies very, very well. So, coming up at number 13 for me is J.J. Abrams' Super 8, produced by Steven Spielberg. This, again, was a movie that is very sort of reminiscent of like the Monster Squad and the Goonies and Stand By Me. It really, really sort of taps into that nostalgia. But yeah, I don't want to get too much into the plot of this one if you've not seen it. I will say this, there's a train crash that happens in this movie. It's the best part of the movie and just had me absolutely gripped. It looked absolutely amazing, that sequence. Superb. But yeah, that was the highlight of the movie for me. The characters are okay. The design of the monster in the movie is pretty cool. But yeah, as I said, that train crash that happens, some of the best stuff put to the movie at the time, in my opinion. Really, really good stuff. So, coming up next for me at number 12 is 50-50 with Seth Rogen and Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Yeah, this movie, again, was really, really moving and really touching. So Joseph Gordon-Levitt's pretty much this guy who's been diagnosed with cancer, and the odds of his survival are 50-50, pretty much. And it's just about him dealing with it and all the shit that's going on in his life. Bryce Dallas Howard in this movie, yeah, one horrible bitch. Like, what the fuck goes through her head? I really, really don't know. But yeah, this movie, I thought it was really, really good. It very tastefully incorporates the comedy into the movie, given the subject matter, and I thought it was very, very well handled and very, very well acted. And yeah, I fully recommend it. So, coming up next for me at number 11 is George Clooney and the Descendants. Yeah, this again was another movie I didn't like the first time I saw it, but the second time, it really, really grew on me. It sort of follows George Clooney and his family, who he's recently lost his wife and the mother. She's passed away, but she had an affair before she did so. And George Clooney really, really wants to find out who the guy was that she had an affair with. And that is basically the sort of the plot of the movie, and it's about the family dynamic too. And again, on second viewing, really, really enjoyed it. Great performances in it. Shailene Woodley as well. Great to see Matthew Lillard as well back in a movie. Hadn't really seen much from him since the Scooby-Doo days. But yeah, The Descendants, great drama. Again, one I'm recommending. So, coming up next for me at number 10 is Crazy Stupid Love. This is a rom-com done brilliantly and very, very well. Great ensemble cast in this movie. Can just go on forever. Steve Carell, Marissa Tomei, Emma Stone, Ryan Gosling, Julianne Moore. Really, really good, and great to see these characters go through all these different stages of their life in romance and where they are. It was really, really enjoyable and really fun as well. Yeah, if you've not seen Crazy Stupid Love, do yourself a favour. Check it out. It's not your typical rom-com, but a very, very clever one at the very least. So, coming up next for me at number 9 is this movie sort of goes by a couple of titles. The one I've got here, it's The Untouchables. I've heard it being called The Untouchable as well. Yeah, I absolutely loved this movie and thought it was fantastic. It's sort of about this disabled guy and his carer and the relationship between the two of them. It is just absolutely good. The opening sequence to me was just so fun. The way they sort of con the police, as it were. And just the dynamic between the two of them was just absolutely brilliant. I know there was a sort of remake that came out with Bryan Cranston and Kevin Hart. I've not seen it. I don't really plan to. The original's good enough for me, in my opinion. I massively, massively enjoyed it and thought the performances in it were great and some absolutely funny humour in this too, for what it was. Really, really enjoyable. So yeah, Untouchables. Check it out if you've not seen it. So, coming up next for me at number 8 is Warrior. This again, believe it or not, a movie I didn't like the first time I saw it. Second time, absolutely fell in love with it. Sort of about these two brothers that pretty much enter into this fighting tournament, but they both have very, very different motivations as to why they're taking part in it. The dynamic between the two of them, again, just absolutely brilliant. Joel Edgerton, Tom Hardy, and Nick Nolte, well, just cast brilliantly in this film. I absolutely loved it. I loved the sport action in it as well. Just riveting to watch. So, yeah, I can't really say much more than that. So, Warrior, if you've not seen it, fantastic, fantastic movie. Yeah, just absolutely brilliant. So, coming up next for me at number 7 is the movie that won Best Picture this year. And that is The Artist. Also won Jean Dujardin the Academy Award for Best Actor as well. Great to see him pop up in The Wolf of Wall Street a couple of years later too as well. But getting back to this movie's fantastic. I absolutely loved it. The majority of this movie is silent, but don't let that put you off. The acting in this movie is just fabulous, and it carries the movie. The acting is so good that it does enough to keep you gripped despite the lack of sound in this movie. The music in this movie is just absolutely brilliant. And from what I got from this movie is sort of about the relentless passage of time and how things change. And if you don't move with the changes, you can be left behind. It's sort of about... It's very, very similar, this, to A Star is Born, I find. It's about an actor who's sort of at the height of his fame. He comes across a new actress and the attention starts to shift from him to her. And she ends up starring in the progressive realm of film where it was sort of moving from silent to talking movies. And he is very much stuck in the realm of staying silent, but the movies he's doing aren't really taking off. But again, this movie I just absolutely loved and fell in love with. Fully deserved of the Best Picture, in my opinion. And to go back to the movies of the 30s and 20s was such a huge step forward for it, and so fresh and progressive, and I absolutely loved it. So yeah, it might not be for everyone, but for me, I absolutely loved it, and that's why it's my number 7 pick. So yeah, fantastic stuff. So coming in at number 6 for me is The Help. Another great Emma Stone movie as well. Just absolutely fantastic. I really, really loved this movie. Octavia Spencer in this, fan-frickin-tastic. Fully deserved of the Best Supporting Actress Oscar, in my opinion. Really, really good. And again, Bryce Dallas Howard plays a total bitch. It was her year for playing total bitches in movies, but yeah, again, this movie, I love the setting and the scenery and sort of everything this movie was about. It was just so interesting and so compelling. And it's best not to talk too much about it, but just go into this movie if you haven't seen it with an open mind, and you'd be pleasantly surprised. I loved this little drama and thought it was brilliant. So, coming up next for me at number 5 is X-Men First Class. Just touching on the Blu-ray cover here, this triple play. I absolutely love this slipcover. It just looks really, really good with this metallic effect. But touching on the movie, yeah, I grew up watching the 90s cartoon of the X-Men, and to see a movie set sort of before X-Men with Charles and Eric as friends before they became enemies because of their different ideologies was so fresh and interesting, and I absolutely loved the dynamic between the two. Perfect casting with James McAvoy and Michael Fassbender, in my opinion. And great to see these two mutants discovering their powers and using them for the first time and taking the steps forward into who they were meant to be. You know, you've got Charles, who sees mutants as the next stage in evolution, but they're to coexist with humans and to get along and to try and better the human race as a whole. Whereas Eric, Magneto, thinks that mutants being the next step in evolution are the superior beings, and that a war is coming between mutant and mankind, and that mutants will come out on top. And you completely understand the motivations from both sides. And again, it was just a fantastic, fantastic movie. Topped as well by the sequel as well. Days of Future Past was fucking brilliant as well. But yeah, this one, I just remember coming out of the cinema thinking, wow. Even the Take That soundtrack to this movie was a good song. It was just really, really good and really riveting. Really great superhero movie. So I absolutely loved X-Men First Class. Thought it was brilliant. So, coming up next at number 4 for me is, again, a sort of revival of an original franchise that kicked off this new trilogy. And it's Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Yeah, this is a movie I forget how good it is because I love the other two parts of the sequel just a bit more than this one, but this is one I really, really forget how good it is. The second one's probably my favourite out of this trilogy, but Rise, really, really good starting point. I thought this movie, before it came out, was going to be a disaster because I love that first Planet of the Apes film so much, and I kind of love the sequels as well to it. I really, really love that series because it was one I watched quite a lot when I was growing up as a kid. But this was handled brilliantly and so well and so interesting. And as I said, great, great starting point for this trilogy. Andy Serkis as Caesar, I mean, my word. Born to play that role, in my opinion, just so, so, so good. James Franco is great in this as well. John Lithgow. Tom Felton and Brian Cox as well. As these like sort of two villainous zookeepers. Yeah, just really, really enjoyed this movie and where it was going. Effects in it are absolutely great. That sequence at the end on the Golden Gate Bridge was superb. Absolutely love Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Just thought it kicked so much ass, and I really, really enjoyed it and really loved where that series went. So, coming up next for me at number 3 is the first Raid movie. I've got it in this 2-pack here with the second one as well. Yeah, balls to the walls, non-stop action, this movie. So, so, so good. Pretty much about this SWAT team that are trying to invade this block of flats, and it's full of criminals, and the fight sequence just absolutely ensues from start to finish. The action just doesn't stop, and it's a complete adrenaline rush, and the sequel's absolutely cracking too. The sequel didn't make my list for the year that came out though, but that's not to say it's a bad movie at all. Raid 1, absolutely fantastic. Superb. One of the best foreign action movies ever. Just so, so, so good, and fully recommend it. If you've not seen it, go into it with an open mind, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. So, yeah, absolutely dig the Raid. So, coming up next for me at number 2 is, this was a movie I did not enjoy the first time I saw it. I really, really didn't. But it grew on me massively over time. And every time I watch it, I just fall in love with it again and again. And it's Ryan Gosling in Drive. Yeah, my word, this movie is just absolutely stellar. It's a very small movie as well for what it is. And it just does a lot with a little. The standout to me, though, from this movie is, well, not just its cast, its supporting cast is absolutely brilliant with the likes of Bryan Cranston, Albert Brooks, Kerry Mulligan. The soundtrack to this movie is just absolutely stellar and hypnotic, and I just love the music in this. It is so good. That opening song by Kavinsky, Night Call, I can listen to that again and again and again, and even when I'm driving in my car, I find myself listening to that song. It is just so good. Possibly my favourite Ryan Gosling film ever, as this getaway driver who's pretty much out on his own for hire. And he's also a stuntman by day. Just, oh God, so good and stylish, and I loved everything about this movie. I thought it was just brilliant. Can't say much more than that. It's got a lovely slip to it as well. Really, really dig this. This was a movie I had on DVD and I just had to upgrade it to Blu-ray. I just thought it just looked amazing. Deserves to be seen in high def, in my opinion. So, that leaves me to the number 1 pick for me from this year. Now, if you saw my previous video of 2010, it was Deathly Hallows Part 1. And of course, here it's going to be Deathly Hallows Part 2. Yeah, this was just so fantastic. The only problem with it I have is it. Whereas the first half stuck true to the book, this one deviates a little bit more in terms of how it ends. But that's not to take away how great of a movie it is. This is the big action sequence. It's the big climax. It's the big send-off and the big conclusion to the series. And yeah, we get all that in this movie. But for me, what makes this movie so good is the quieter moments. I don't want to get into spoilers, but the sequences for me, and I'm going to try and describe this without spoiling it, if anyone's not seen it. There's a character in the movie who passes away. I won't say who it is, but before they do, they share a memory with Harry Potter, and that sequence was fantastic. It was handled so well. It made things clear as to what was going on, and it just felt conclusive to that character, and it was just absolutely wonderful. Now, another quieter moment in this movie that really made it for me is the sequence where, again, I don't want to talk too much into it, but there's a brief moment where Harry has a meeting with people from his past in the forest, and that moment to me was just absolutely fantastic. I loved the chemistry of some of these characters in this scene we'd never ever seen before. We'd only heard of them, and some we knew, and it was great to see Harry interact with them and be one with them, even though only for a brief moment. And of course, another smaller scene in the movie I really enjoyed was the conversation between Harry and Dumbledore. It was just so heartwarming and great to see. But of course, this does have, the big action sequences in it too, but it's the smaller parts of this movie that really make it for me. And that's why I absolutely love it and think it's fantastic. Those smaller moments, they're just absolutely golden in this film. I really enjoyed it. There's some dodgy CGI towards the end with the epilogue, with the aging process they added, but it didn't really take me out of it too much. But it's those smaller moments in the movie that are just brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Characters in this film are given so much character too, particularly Snape and Neville Longbottom. They're really, really given stuff to do in this movie. But yeah, I can't say much more than that. It's a fantastic, fantastic climax. But as I said, it's the smaller, quieter moments in the movie that make it for me. Yeah, I can't say much more than that. So definitely Hallows Part 2. Yeah, what a send-off. Even though it deviated from the book a little bit too much for me and missed things out. Yeah, I just fell in love with these two movies. I really, really would love to see as well, just getting into the Blu-ray here as well, I would love to see a version of this where it runs as one film. I know that would be really, really long, probably between 4 and 5 hours, but the two movies for me, I always watch back to back. I don't really watch one without the other. But yeah, I know it would probably never happen, but I would love to see someone release a cut of this one long giant movie. So yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. If you've seen it, you'll know how good it is and how emotional it is. And again, it's a fantastic, fantastic final chapter. Even though the book itself has its flaws, it's very rushed, but I think they were right to sort of split the movie up in cases. But out of just curiosity, I would love to see an edited together version of the two films. But yeah, so that is my list of top 20 favourite movies from the year 2011. Really, really getting into the juicy stuff now, heading into 2012. From 2012 to the present day, all those years had much, much, much juicier movies, in my opinion. I really, really enjoyed. But yeah, again, 2011, did churn out some great, great, great stuff. So yeah, I hope I've given you some recommendations to films that you've never seen. Let me know your favourite films from this year. And if you're new to the channel, please think about hitting the subscribe button. And just leave your comments down below. So all I'll say is thanks very much for watching. Stay safe and take care. I'll see you soon.